What's up, everyone? I'm James Young with jamesyoungphotography.com, and I'm bringing you episode number 9 of Teach Me How to Lightroom. Don't forget, there's a link in the description below to download the RAW file for free, so if you want, you can follow along with this tutorial using this exact photo. Today we're going to be taking a look at this image I took of kind of a casual cosplay here, wearing a Spiderman mask, wearing some denim, some dark pants. We actually shot this inside of a skate park. This is inside of a bowl. There's all kinds of graffiti. We use some smoke for a visual effect. And I think for an edit, what we want to do today is really crank up the contrast, maybe bring down the saturation a little bit, just make this look real grungy. So we're going to go from here, bam, to here. Let's get right into it. Right off the bat, the first thing we're going to do is crop this image. Typically with portraiture, I'm a big fan of getting your composition correct in the camera. But when you're using a visual effect, something like smoke here, you never know what it's going to do. So sometimes it's beneficial to shoot a little wide and then crop in after the fact. So I know this is a bit of an extreme crop, but just bear with me. So I can tell right off the bat, we're going to need just a little bit of yellow back into this image. About 5226 Kelvin there. And let's scroll down into our basic module. Let's give it just a little bit of exposure right off the bat, about 1/3 of a stop. And I'm gonna go down and add to the tone curve real quick. Instead of a medium contrast curve, which I normally go to, I'm gonna do strong contrast instead. And let's go back up. And like I said, with this edit, we're gonna go real contrasty, give it a really grungy type of look, and even desaturate some of the colors. So some of these sliders might be kind of extreme. Normally with portraiture, you wouldn't go too extreme with these sliders, but our model here is wearing a mask. Only thing exposed really is some fingers here, so we can get really crazy with the edit. So on the contrast, I'm gonna crank this up to about 65. We're gonna bring our highlights down quite a bit, somewhere around 70, 75 or so. Awesome. I like that. We're gonna open up the shadows a lot, probably all the way. Let's see here, yeah, I like plus 100 on the shadows. On the whites, we're just gonna go up enough to right before we start blowing out any information. So let's go around plus 38 there. Perfect. And with our blacks, we're just gonna go down far enough just to where before we start blowing out important information. And you can see there, we're clipping a little bit of the blacks, but only in the most extreme part of his black pants. So that's okay with me. So let's scroll all the way down to the effects here, because for some reason dehaze is at the very bottom, even though it's such a powerful slider. And let's do about plus 30 on our dehaze. And that's gonna really start cranking in the colors here. So let's scroll back up until we get to our presence here. Okay, so with our clarity, we're gonna crank this one up too, about plus 50 on this. And that's gonna bring out all the contrast in the midtones and really define all the edges. With our vibrance, we're gonna go up to about only plus 10 or so. That's gonna add more saturation into the blue tones or the colder tones, which is what we want. And then for the saturation, we're gonna go down about minus 30. Yeah, minus 30 looks good. Fantastic. Now that's really the basis of the whole low saturation, high contrast type look. Now there's just a couple other things that I want to do that are extremely specific to this image, especially because the smoke here coming from middle frame going off to the left. So let's scroll down to the HSL, and under luminance, I'm going to bring up the greens and the aquas. So for greens, I'm going to go about plus 30 or so. About plus 40, that looks good. And then for aqua, we're gonna go up quite a bit to about plus 70. And you can see here, this is really specific to this image. I'll turn it off and turn it on. That's really gonna hone in and bring some exposure back into the smoke here. And then one of the last things I like to do with a lot of my portraits is add sharpening back into the image. Lightroom starts us off with 25. I like to go up to about 70. I'm gonna scroll up all the way. And you can see when you turn off detail and turn it back on, you can see the sharpening does make quite a bit of a difference, especially when you print this out. So I'm gonna scroll back out of this image, and I think I like this here. You may wanna do something like a vignette or something, but I'll leave it without a vignette. Oh, definitely not gonna go plus 5 on that, no way. So I'm going to scroll back all the way up. Let's see where we started. Oh, wow. And then where we ended up. Boom, super contrasty. I love it. I think this type of look lends itself very well to this type of image. You obviously wouldn't want to do this to like maybe a bride or something. Maybe that might be a little unflattering. But especially with this type of image, I really think the low saturation, high contrast works extremely well. Well, if you liked this edit, make sure to save yourself a preset of this so that you can go back to it and lay it as a foundational piece to one of your future images. If you downloaded the raw file and followed along, or maybe you did something better, make sure to post it on social media and tag me in it. All of my information is down there in the description as well. And I'm James Young with JamesYoungPhotography.com, and this is Teach Me How to Lightroom.